Hello, today is February 4th, 2019, and the time is 12:40 p.m. I'd like to talk about the former officer. The former officer, when he first testified, spent the whole day trying to establish a motive why I allegedly risked his life, as he so claims. The biggest part of the criminal trial is the exemption, no mention of the intestinal gas pills they found on me, which sparked their beating me to the point where I'm partly disabled. So the former officer had focused on that in November of 2013, the first time he testified. 15 months later was the next time he would testify, the second time, and the second officer testified. The second officer testified first, and he was trying to focus on alleged prostitution. That's what they thought was happening. Now, who knows? Like, I can't say for sure if that's what he actually thought or not. Whatever. The point being is that the whole story changed. So, and when the second officer testified the second time, his focus was on disrespecting an officer. Now, that's really what that means, is hurt feelings. How do you prove someone's feelings were hurt? And how do you prove there was intent, for example, based on his narrative, that I willfully intended to hurt his feelings? It's the perfect go-to. I just want to add on a side note, we see people defaulting to hurt feelings within movements like feminism and the incel movement and men's rights groups and everything else. Everyone seems to be defaulting to hurt feelings. The whole social justice snowflake attitude, it seems to be something very rampant across the board. And this is not by chance, because this is a worldwide thing that's happening, which implies that there's some sort of design to all this. For what it's worth, just sharing that thought with you.
Here's what the former officer said about his alleged hurt feelings. I'm only going to read lines 31, 33, and 34. Feel free to pause to read the whole thing if you want. I show the respect. Him showing that he's got a lack of respect for authority. So what did I say that the former officer deemed to be disrespectful? Can I help you? He also claims my look was aggressive, not entertaining my look possibly being confusion. The criminal trial judge bought the alleged interpretation of "can I help you" as something only a guilty person would say. The assumption of guilt revolves around the female. The criminal trial judge uses the phrase "if he is wrong" throughout his convicting me, which implies he has doubt on the reasons why he is convicting me. This tells other judges that no matter what, I must be found guilty. Unless you have worked in law, you wouldn't know how messages are relayed in plain sight. The former officer admits he needed to create a motive as to why I allegedly risked his life, thus created his own version of alleged sex crimes, which the sex crimes unit long cleared me of, which changed to alleged prostitution, which was debunked by why I was with the female to vindicate myself. I was convicted because I allegedly hurt the former officer's feelings. But why such an effort to convict me if I'm not truly guilty? The final question the Crown Prosecutor asked me the first time I testified was about the lawsuit I have against the police and the officers. And this is why in the end, the trial judge dismissed everything I had to say or produce and focused on the allegations around the female to discredit me. If the criminal trial judge claims not to have believed me about anything, why should a civil trial judge believe me? The defense of the lawsuit will be based on discrediting me. Will the former officer and the officer lie about finding the intestinal gas pills at the civil trial? I know they will.
How do you prove someone's feelings were hurt? And how do you prove there was intent for example, based on his narrative, that I willfully intended to hurt his feelings. It's the perfect go-to for the former officer and his former partner to default to, and it's perfect because it gains the sympathy of other officers, the courts, judges, lawyers, prosecutors. Everyone involved automatically will default to giving the former officer sympathy on that. And at the same time, it villainizes who I am, forgetting that my career history alone, working with police officers, and at one time having the status of a peace officer when I used to process serve on the side. And in fact, I talk about this in another video where I was assaulted during a process serve, and the person was charged and pled to assaulting a police officer based on my interaction with that individual. So, I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense, but people who don't know me, and through even there's a thing called professional courtesy, and that not only falls within the scope of a particular profession, but it crosses professions, because everyone who's a professional, which is another word as to mean nobility, gives that same professional courtesy because they know, well, you know, if I was in that situation, you know, I'd want some support as well. And the trial judge, in one of his rulings, even stated that it wouldn't, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, I'm going to put the actual quote here beside me. It wouldn't be surprising that the police would be looking after their own best interests. So how do you beat hurt feelings? You can't. Anyway, that's just my rant for today. I hope everyone's doing well. You can see it's very cold here, and just trying to keep warm. So anyway, wish everyone peace today. Make it a great day for yourself, and please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and we'll catch you next time.